obviously Oklahoma weather is very, very unpredictable, or some weather people would say it is very predictable, but it's just it changes a lot. I mean, we've obviously recently gone through an ice storm, multiple ice storms, and obviously tornado season is looming and crazy wind and stuff like that.
Yep.
What is it? Is this like the worst state to try and sell this stuff in because of those questions, or is it? I mean, assuming these obviously are very durable, they come with a warranty, they take hail and all that stuff. But what is that like selling in a state like Oklahoma?
Oh no, I
mean,
we get people all the time like there's no way that this can withstand the hail that we get in Oklahoma. And I tell people all the time that they are not indestructible. Mm-hmm. If we get grapefruit size hail, which I did one time, our house in Quail Creek that we had, literally this hail went through our roof and broke the tile floor in the kitchen. So, I mean, it's we've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's going to go directly through that solar panel.
Right.
But the way that they're engineered is they're engineered to withstand 1-inch hail at 50-mile-an-hour winds. Mm-hmm. And the reason that design is so important is because that's what your asphalt shingled roof is engineered to withstand. So it doesn't make sense to have a panel that's going to withstand more hail than what your roof is, because your roof's going to have to be replaced. And if your roof's replaced, we have to come out and take the system off, put it back on.
Sure.
We did that about 22 times last year. I'll knock on wood. We've installed 1,200 systems kind of all over the state, and not one single solar panel is broke because of hail.
Yeah.
I know that it's going to happen at some point. It just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Our racking that we actually use, that we attach it to the roof of the home, it can withstand 150-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
And we all know that we get high winds. But I actually have seen pictures in areas where tornadoes have come through and ripped off sections of homes that had the solar panels still attached to them, and it's just laying on the ground. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's definitely really well engineered. And that was part of the reason why we were, so in tune and wanting to get involved in this, because here's a technology that it's proven, it works, it saves people money. All of the questions that people have about it, there are actually answers and ways to be able to figure out whether or not it really works. But
clearly makes sense.
Oh yeah, we love it. It's awesome.
So when you did have to take like the ones off for people replacing their roof, is that like an insurance thing that's covered when they when you sell the initial package?
I think all but 2 of them were covered by the homeowner's insurance, and so when we make contract with the utility companies, so we help all of our customers actually change their rate plans into a solar plan. Yeah. And so when they do that, the utility companies normally want the homeowner to provide proof that they have homeowners insurance, and that their homeowners insurance understands that they have a power generation system. Yeah. About 50% of the time, it doesn't change our customers' premiums at all. Mm-hmm. About the other 50% of the time, it changes about $50 to $100 a year. So when you're really kind of looking at overall what it's doing to your monthly premium, it's barely changing it, but our customers are seeing huge savings. I mean, I told you, if you look at $150 a month, you're going to spend $93,000.
Yeah.
Well, most of our customers are actually going to save about 65% of that money if they end up purchasing a solar generation system.
It's a huge chunk of money.
Huge chunk of money.
Yeah.
$50,000, $60,000.
Yeah. Over what, 10? You say 10 years?
30 years.
30 years, yeah. Yes. I mean, that's a new car, So, we like to talk about weather. We obviously had the ice storm last year. I was without power for like 3 days. It sucked. And I'm sure many other people were as well. So you guys to 1,200 homes that you installed, they still had power, I assume.
No, they didn't.
Okay.
And that's an important thing to be able to point out. So the systems that we install, 95% of the systems that we install are what are called grid-tied systems. Okay. So our systems, we mount them to your roof, or we put them in your yard. We tie all of that power into your electric panel. Okay. Well, that system is, when the sun's out, it's producing really well. On a day like today where the sun's out and it's shining bright, our customers are producing about 3 times what they need right then at that moment.
Sure.
So you utilize 1/3 of that. The other 2/3 of it goes back into your panel and back through your meter and back onto the grid.
Okay.
It's called a grid-tied system.
Sure. Okay,
so
that makes sense. Yeah.
The utility meter is able to keep track of those credits.
Right.
Okay, so then the sun goes down, you're cooking and doing the dishes and all those things, and you're using power. Well, you're using those credits that you banked up during the day. And so that's what's called net metering. And so with the net metering system, the utilities allow us to put that power back onto the grid.
Gotcha.
But if the grid goes down, our systems have to go down.
Okay.
Because
you're tied in.
Because we're tied in, right?
Yeah.
And so if it's a sunny day and it's producing power and the lineman shows up to work on that line and they get fried, well then, that's not going to be any good. So, grid tied systems or net metering systems really probably started about 15, 20 years in kind of other parts of the country. And when they realized that they could do that, it was able to essentially eliminate batteries from the system. So you didn't have to store your power anymore, which was really kind of the expensive part of it.
Yeah.
So with these new net metering systems, you're able to eliminate the cost of the battery, which is about half the cost of the system, and just be able to put that power back onto the grid.
Yeah.
Now, we definitely have customers that talk to us all the time, and that's definitely the first misconception they have.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to be just my house.
It's like I am ready right now, and we had that ice storm. What was that? Probably 3-4 months ago, and literally our phones are ringing off the hook. Well, at that time we had just become certified with Tesla, and so we're installing Tesla power walls and Tesla charging stations, and so we actually put some advertisement out there to say, hey, look, there is a way to be able to do this.
Yeah,
you do have to buy these Tesla, power walls to be able to, kind of, be with power when the grid's down, but there is a way to do it. It just costs money to be able to do it.